We back, guys. We'll get started in just a second. We'll kind of go over what's coming up today, things to look for. We'll get started in just a second. I'm gonna start with SPY. Good morning, how you guys doing? Alright, so here we go. I think we just had some data drop. We'll go over that in just a second. I'll mark some of this out. Alright, so yesterday we had a nice pop-up. Basically coming off the news that Trump was talking about rolling back the tariffs with China. So we had a nice pop-up, but we ended up kind of fading throughout the day. And what I mean by that was just like, we all see came about like right here. Can we basically like popped up and you see we just kind of just faded off. Hold on, let me turn our regular hours. See it better. So yeah, we had this gap up right here, and then we just faded off. We still kind of maintain like this certain level of support, which is a good sign. But the thing that kind of just hindered that is like earlier today, like some Chinese officials came out and was like, basically Trump was lying that there really isn't any negotiation going on heavily. The thing though is that the market seems like it doesn't care as much right now. There hasn't been too much of a movement. I think people are seeing that some deals are starting to be made. I think the fear is just overall starting to die down. We'll see when the market opens, but it could be like just more of a slower movement versus what we've seen like these last few weeks. So one thing I'm gonna be looking for here, especially on this 4-hour time frame, I would like to see a break above here. Let me see. Long term on my indicators. Here we go. So I would like to see is a break above this previous high on the 4-hour time frame. That's about 538, 538.98. So once we see a break above this is why I use as a trigger for like my calls. I'm going to sell a little bit below that, just so I know. Because a lot of times I could be looking at different stocks and I don't want to miss the move. And basically, in case you guys don't know, what's highlighted right here, these are fair value gaps. Because basically where a price moves too fast that it doesn't fully fill in and it creates these gaps. And most of these gaps fill, but not all the time. but it just gives you an idea where price can return to if there is like a pullback or a move up. So this is a bullish fair value gap. Like I was saying, we had a nice move up, a gap up. So if price does start to fall down into like this 534 level or a little bit below, kind of coincides also with this trend line a little bit. We could fill in this bullish fair value gap before heading back upward. And that's usually something you'll see if it starts to break below like the previous low. So for this would be if we break below 533.86 and really start to get into here, you could see it test this area before heading back up. Excuse me. But right now, what we'll be looking for, it would just be seeing if we're gonna maintain this support level. Because overall, we're still, like bears are still in control. There is, let me turn this off so you can see it better. There is some slight bullish momentum. But the thing is, bears are still in control and they're trying to break back inside. Bulls are trying to break back inside this trend line that we have going. Let me zoom out so you guys can see it better. Alright. So you kind of see here, this is on the weekly time frame. For weeks, we've been trading inside of this channel. It's not perfect. I kind of messed it up some. But we traded inside of this weekly channel, but like the last few weeks, we just saw we broke down. We actually came outside of the weekly channel, like broke down completely until we had a retest and it kind of broke back inside of here. And there's like this consolidation right here along with the trend line of this weekly channel. And it's building up some support, but we need to see if it's actually gonna like break back inside and continue upward, or we're just gonna continue to reject and fall back down. And so that's pretty much what's going on right now, where we're having like this kind of, we're having some movements, but it's nothing too crazy. It's just consolidation. The thing about having this consolidation at this area though, doesn't mean that it's gaining a larger amount of support, which is overall just good if we want to continue some upside, but it's still in a tricky area where we can definitely continue to break down. So what I do is I just trade what I see. I trade what I see. I trade the structures I see. I don't put any guessing into that. That's why I focus on the strat. And so like I was saying, I'm looking for this 4-hour time frame breakout. It's around like 538 for me to get bullish on this stock. Now we start to break below this previous low, like on this 4-hour, which will be the 533.88. So below that, I'll start to go short. And it's also just knowing that we have a gap to the downside. That's an easy move right there to make money off of. Like this little gap right here to here. Let me mark this out. Let me know if you guys can see that okay. Let me know if you have any questions too. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But so you can get a better understanding, just like right here, the low of these previous candles. If we fill this gap downward, that'd be a nice move. That's about what, 534 to about 530. So it's like a $4 or $5 move. Even though that's not like a huge move. If you're trading options, or even if you're just trading like SPX, you can make a lot of money with that. Especially, you can make a lot of money honestly off of a $1 move. Especially if you buy something that's in the money, or like for that day. And you see it kind of comes out perfectly to test this last support level that my indicator pulled out to. On top of that, it's also aligning with the EMAs. So what you're looking for just is like confluence. You're looking for like your different indicators, or like your different excuse me. You're looking for your different indicators and like your different signals to align that you're making a good move. stream. So good morning, everybody. Here, I'm going over to QQQ, which kind of has a similar setup of what's going on. Just 1 second. I shouldn't skip QQQ. I'm gonna go right to one setup I like that I've been watching for the last couple of days is Netflix. Netflix really has a setup that I like. I really could see it pushing. Netflix just recently had earnings a couple days ago, and people basically saw that Netflix still is kind of holding strong despite all these like recession fears. And that's basically because like most of their stuff is like, I don't say it's software based, but you can make they make a lot of movies in America, and outside of that they just buy movies, and they've really gotten big into live streaming events. So they really don't face as many obstacles as other companies would as far as like these tariffs, like going outside of America, because you kind of can just buy a movie honestly from like another production company. So here, this is on the 4-hour. Yeah, let's start on the daily. So on this daily time frame, we're coming off a 2-1 setup, which basically 2 is just a directional move. So we saw 1-2 and it went up. So it was like a move up, and then a 1 is just an inside move. So that's just saying that we just consolidated, like we didn't break out of any highs or lows. So we come out as 2-1 setup, which is set up us to have like preferably another 2 move, another 2 up. So it's like the pot is boiling, and then it's like we're heating up, the pot is boiling, just consolidating right here, and we're looking for another move up. And so this consolidation, I'm looking for a breakout with Netflix. Of course, things have to align with that, and this could take some time, but especially if we start to get, my calls will get triggered, or me going long on the stock above 1061. And then I'll look for, it's like around 1061. Gonna be some resistance at 1064, which really that shouldn't be too hard. And then I'll start looking towards like 1070 and getting up towards let me see, hold on, let me zoom out. Where are we near all-time highs? Yeah, so like Netflix is really near running for new all-time highs. So we could really end up pushing. Here, I'm gonna do something so I can actually see my other targets for this. Here, let me try to run this Fibonacci extension. This just kind of gives you like a better idea of like where things can go. So Fibonacci extension, that's just like showing you new price targets when you're reaching new highs. Alright. So with this one, this is on a weekly time frame. Alright, so on a weekly time frame for Netflix, it'll be around like 1100. That'll be another target. Of course, you need to buy some time if you're doing options. It'll be like 1100, 1178. It was around 1180, and 1600. That'll be around 1400. But that's a little bit further down the line. You see their ATR. When we get this move to 1100, you could really cash off of that. ATR for this just a second. So yeah, their ATR is around 43. And ATR is just the average true range. That just talks about how many, like basically how many dollars they move in a day. Like how much money they move in a day essentially. So it's like $40. So right now we're sitting at what, like 1049. So it moves are like $40. So an average move would be like they went from like 1049 to 1089, right? What I like to do with ATR when I'm kind of like pricing in how much I think is gonna move in a day, I like to use just I kind of like around 80% of that move when I'm doing my calculations if I'm looking for an options contract. So let's say we do like 43 times 0.8, whatever. That'd be around like 34, 35. So let's say, I like to say like that's actually in the direction I want it to go, right? So it's like 1049 plus around 35. So that's roughly like 1085-ish, like roughly. I'm kind of like doing rough numbers just because it's not going to be exact. And so it gives you like a good idea of like where we could end up moving just within one day. This helps you pick your options contracts for when you're looking in the future. So you can have an idea of like, all right, if it's moving $35, $40 a day, if I'm looking for options contract strike price, I'm going to be targeting something that's like within that time frame. That's within that price range, right? Like I'm not going to want to pick something that's way out the money that doesn't like line up with like how fast it's going to move. Can I give you guys a better idea? I'm going to show you this other chart. When it comes to like picking your options. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Excuse me. So here we basically have like options contracts, like options chart, not a chart, but options list. And this is for this week, and you can see that they move in like $10 increments, $5 increments, as you can get them, whatever, right? So let's say if I want to play Netflix just until Friday, this is going to be a more risky contract or something. If I did this, it's around 1049, and I expect it to move around like that $30, $40 move. I can end up picking something that's within this range, or like you can go out of it. Like here, I'm about to show you. See, this goes way further down. You can go to like 1080, 1090, whatever. But when you're doing this, you're picking a riskier contract because it's like it's harder for it to reach this price point, especially before that time frame. So what you'll do is like get something what they call in the money. So it's basically it's closer to the price. Like what it currently is, so it's easier for that number to be achieved essentially. And you see though it's more expensive though. So let's say it's just a comparison, like this 1080 contract is $284. It's $2.84 times that times 100. It's $284 basically. But instead if I bought a contract that was at the strike price of $1040, it costs $1,700. Which Netflix is pretty pricey, but at the same time, this is a better contract because it's a lot more likely for it to occur. And then the moves, like when it moves up $1, I'll make more money with this contract. So that's just some very, very basic levels when you're like some very basic things we're looking at contracts. If you have more questions about this, I can go like more in depth and kind of give you a full visual on that. But just let me know. I'm gonna check out this Bitcoin. Here, this Bitcoin is BTC USD, like the ticker symbol. So Bitcoin, if you were on the stream yesterday, I told you guys, even before yesterday, I was like, Bitcoin is gonna front run any like positive moves that we have, and that's just because throughout this time where we were getting like kind of beat down, Bitcoin pretty much stayed steady. People started going to it as like in a sense of a store of value. And if you just paid attention, not necessarily what people were saying, but some of the moves that were happening behind the scenes, like some of the small news reports, people were making moves to buy more Bitcoin. Other parts of the world were being more open to Bitcoin and doing like crypto-related technologies become more open, especially like in China, Europe, and Russia. And so that led to more buying. And that's why even when the market was falling like these last couple of days, it still was like gaining momentum. It was consolidating, kind of building up, and then we ended up having like these large pushes that we had. Right? Well, I'm looking for Bitcoin now. We had a push and kind of did some of the same thing, kind of had a pump like early in the morning, then it kind of faded out. But it's still maintaining this level. A big level for Bitcoin though is around this 92 to 94K range. For Bitcoin to continue its upside, which it just looks like it's trying to push up, I need to see Bitcoin get into like this 93 and eventually above this 94,000. When we start getting above 94,000, like you guys can see, let me make it bigger. We actually see that we get up to like this 94, like 600 level. That's when we've been seeing that we started to reject. Because above 95K is really when bulls will step in and be in control, and 100K is easy after that. So that's what I really be looking for. I really want to see it gain above like, around this 92, 93 level. Because once it does that, it's automatically just going to run to like 95. To this 95 level. And once we break above this, that's when above like 95, that's when like 100K is on the table, 102K, and then like new highs. We're not very far from reaching new heights with Bitcoin. Like, we got a little ways to go, but it's not too far off. Like here, we look on this is the weekly time frame. What was our all-time high? It was around like 109,000, almost like 110. That's really not too far off from where we're at. The only thing that really stopped Bitcoin is like if we start getting into some more trouble as far as like market wise, more than like what we already know. Like let's say trade tensions continue to increase and all these different things start to go on, we could see Bitcoin pull back some more a little bit with the market. I don't feel like it's gonna move as fast. Just because a lot of institutions have been buying it, just pretty much like maintain this strength over time. But we could see that. But overall, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, especially like right now. So yeah, like look at this chart. It's still been like ripping up. Right now, we're just kind of like a little bit of consolidation. There's nothing too crazy. And if you want to trade like this, but you don't necessarily want to trade Bitcoin itself, I definitely say go to like Coinbase or MSTR. Like those are tickers you can trade. Those are stocks, and they basically move lockstep with Bitcoin. Just kind of give you an example. MSTR moves a little bit more with Bitcoin than Coinbase does. But yeah, as you can see, it kind of moves in the same. It's kind of moving similar pattern as Bitcoin. This is on a monthly time frame. If I go down to the weekly. Here's the daily. So you can kind of see like that same downtrend that we had before, the consolidation and kind of like this pop up that we had. It's the same concept, the same thing that's been happening with Bitcoin. It's just on Coinbase, and it's actually a lot cheaper to trade. Here we go. Yeah, here's MSTR. This one I like to trade. MSTR though, it's a beast. Like it moves with Bitcoin, but the thing is super volatile, and it can pay well. It's a little expensive, but it can pay well. So it's like definitely something that you have to buy some time with. But I have played MSPR like it was either earlier this week or last week. Into this week, we did 330 calls to 360 calls, and they paid pretty nice. Because we caught this run, like when it did this breakout over here, we caught this run, and it paid pretty well. You just gotta be careful with this because things can swing so much, especially like with Bitcoin in general. Notice that like the first few hours it kind of moves in step with like the market, the stock market. Especially at open, the first few hours it kind of moves lock in step. Around like 11 to 1 o'clock, that's when things start to break away on their own and do like its own thing. That's something you just gotta watch it in MSTR and Bitcoin. Just really getting more and more in lock with the market just because institutions have been buying so much of it. Even despite, don't listen to what these people say, look at their actions. Just like with Jamie Dimon, he's a Chase CEO. He talks so much crap about Bitcoin, but Chase has their own cryptocurrency within their system, and they also have been buying a lot of Bitcoin, and everybody's moving into this whole crypto wave. So just pay attention to that and see as far as like what the news is gonna be with that. But yeah, all right, that's our pre-market breakdown for today. If you guys want to tune in for more, I'm coming back tomorrow. Follow me and check it out. Also, if you go to the link in my bio, the links to my YouTube, but I have a free Discord you can hop into where we go over a lot of different trades, but we also do like sports betting as well, and we've been hitting on that. So I've been hitting by 85% since like last Friday. So definitely tune in. It's free. I drop a lot of free game. So appreciate you guys tapping in. We'll do some more later on. All right, peace. Y'all have a good morning.